Today is December 22nd, 22. Okay? Well, they started following me again, so I played the last tape. Where that girl yesterday, December 21st, in Burger King, okay, in front of Walmart 62, came in while she was in the restroom and was crying. I broke up with him, didn't I? Okay? I was the one that they talked into going out with him before. That to talk him into helping out in this. And I felt bad, and she's crying, crying her eyes out, okay? And she said, I found out what they actually did to her, and I told him I don't want to ever see him again. I know she knows who he is, and she hasn't mentioned him for a while, so he's purposely not letting her see him, so she doesn't mention him, okay? And the lady responded. And she's like, I even know. Well, she said, well, that girl said, I know she's even sick from everything they did to her. I feel horrible. The lady said, well, I'm glad you got away from him. He would have done the same thing to you. She said, I realize that. And I told him, not one more thing better happened to her. I'll tell he's involved. Okay. So if I haven't seen him, okay. Now, we all know it's the agent that called me back. Retired Judge Pete and their dirty senior citizen friends and their families. Now, there was a younger guy, 30 to 40, white hair parted on the side. Dixie seen him in Wendy's when they bullied me out of the jewelry. He was in there several times with different guys, and one of them even looked like my son Joshy a little bit. Okay, Dixie seen him. Darlene seen him. Dear God, John seen him. And Minerva Grinders in the back corner. Darlene seen him and Bob Evans. He drove by me and somebody yelled, hey Alex, hey Alec. And he's a spitting image of Judge Pete. Probably his kid or somebody. Okay. There was also a guy with white hair too, named Bill from the Freemasons up there. Now, someone confronted Bill while my phone's tapped before I moved out, so it's like March of 19. Follows me down to Minerva's. Now, Minerva, because I was going to go to John's church, okay? He goes in with a bunch of Freemason guys. Now, he's showing up all the time looking at me. Now, I have people stabbing me with needles, stalkers getting chased off, people trying to shoot me driving. I had to hide not to get killed on a gunshot night. You're following me around. You don't come up and talk to me. Don't you think I talk to you? No. I don't know what your part is. He's like, Bill. Some guy's like, Bill, she won't even look at you. And he said, I know. Well, you didn't come up and say hello. And who are you and what is your part in this? He's like, he was talking about him paying for it. Okay. All right. And he looks just like Judge Pete and that Alec. Okay. Now, there's also, if you look up Henry Maffey from Instagram and Facebook, okay, guy showed up, just looks just like him after he, as soon as they tried to kill me, started texting me that he thought I was pretty. Scary when he shows up. Okay. He showed up with like 180, 200 plus pound woman, okay, and he had people mocking me, okay. Now, there was also a young Indian doctor, okay, they called him Henry. He had an older dad that was Indian, and they said they were doctors, and they were around me for the first 2 years. Now, those are the only ones I haven't seen in a while. Okay? I'll tell you what, my kids know nothing. This is just the eight. Somebody even said yesterday, we all know that agent bullied her. It didn't give her right that nobody helped her up there. No, it doesn't. Matter of fact, he should have got arrested for bullying me. Absolutely should have got arrested. Okay? There is no excuse. Nobody helped me. He said, I told you everything was to direct me to the FBI so he could open that witness protection program so that he could embezzle the money, him and his dirty friends. They have said it from Pennsylvania at that Krennic's store when I went with my day hab. They have said it in Wendy's Alliance on December 2nd this year. They yelled it outside Trinity Gospel Temple this last Sunday. It is just them stealing from the case. They yelled it November 11th in Massillon. They said it in Five Below in Belden in the last month. Everybody knows they're just stealing from the case. That's the only thing going on. See, otherwise, Dave was trying to have me killed to have Katie, and nobody knew, okay, because he wanted that farm. He wanted that cattle. She has a dairy farm, and she has horses too, and he would have had it easy and wouldn't have to pay me alimony if I'm not around, okay? Nobody knew what he was up to. Thought I could just get rid of me. That's where the temps are. He's so mad I'm not dead, he goes, the story meets the Looney Tunes. Except for they're embezzlers. They're druggers. Except for one's a dirty agent, and one's a retired judge messed up in the shit. I think of another witness protection program person. Let me fix up that whole house, work all summer, and then attack. And then the thing is to scare me to death. So I'll call the FBI, and I won't trust the place. That's why my girlfriend's rich and powerful, her family owns the place, so I'll call the FBI. So I won't trust the police. So he's waiting when I call the hotline to grab it from out of his area. See, I lived in Portage County. It should have went to Akron. Not a Stark County FBI task force. Should have never even seen it. Wasn't even his area. It's like saying Cincinnati grabbed it. Be ridiculous. See what I mean? Although FBI can work anywhere in the United States, they have to be pulled. Like they said, most of their regular jobs are the same as police officers, even though they watch terrorism from around the world. Their main job is like police officers. They're Federal Bureau of Investigators. That's it. So, yeah. I want you to realize that. FBI is a higher police department. So, like Secret Service, marshals, it's like the Army. Everything from privates to colonels to generals. They're all in the Army. These are all just law enforcement agencies. That's it. People try to make them Nazis and they're not. They have no more rights than we do. Now, being in a witness protection program, because he had to open it to steal the money. That's why he bullied me into staying quiet when I wasn't. Staying quiet. You know, he bullies me. I'm sorry, somebody walked by. He bullied me to say I was lying when I wasn't. When I tried to tell what happened at Huntington Bank. And it should have been, my God, Karen, if I don't get him threatening to knife you. I got a picture of him walking off with that waitress. And that banker, I got her for stalking. And we'll find out who she is, and I'll find out if Dave did call him or who he called. And you're out of here. That's what should have happened. You've been followed and rented. It is linked back to that church. The attempt to break in, he is the main subject. Church members saying to 3 people they're going to have you killed. And then that lady getting paid to stalk you, somebody impersonated you, and that lady verified it at Advanced America. You know what I mean? It should have been, my God, Karen, you're out of here. But no. What was the whole thing? Why would they even, because they kicked in my door within 6 days of me moving up there. It's illegal to be in somebody's home. It's 4th Amendment. It's only protective like cases. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life, and they have to speak to everyone before they start. It's abuse and misconduct. Goes to the right of privacy, illegal search and seizure. You also have the right to remain quiet, right to an attorney, right to a fair court trial, bail and bond, right not to be mistreated, and a freedom of speech. And there's badgering laws, Department of Justice 1729. See where Dave called me, where are you at? I'm buying something for dinner. I got a phone call to make. And then he hangs up, and then I go to get a flu shot. I got dizzy, sat down on the bench, and then I can't believe she's here, and the guy comes up and threatens to knife me, and the lady's arguing with him to knife me. Well, they're arguing, I take him off for the bank, I want to open an account. And then she comes over that she's getting paid to watch me, and the banker's yelling at him, and da-da-da-da, and they walk off together. And I didn't know if they had somebody with a gun on my back or my head, or if they had another person waiting to knife me. You talk about emotional hostage. And then Dave trying to call me back, and I put him on hold. Then I had to leave, and I freaked out and drove down to Walmart 62, and an African-American lady spit in my face, her and her white boyfriend harassing me, and another guy with black hair, dark eyes, and eagle tattoo. What a shame, and I had to get away from that freak. And then realizing the other 4 attempts on my life were them and how stupid I was. And, and that's why Dave had to say, my girlfriend's rich and powerful, her family owns a place. He won't be able to withstand it, so I wouldn't trust him. So I called the FBI, so he could grab it out of his area. They waited for me to get that house done to get me in the witness protection program. So when I called him, I tried to tell him what happened at Huntington Bank. You liar, you bitch, I'll put you in jail. You talk about a sick son of a bitch. And a sick son of a bitch. And I'm like, what? No, I've been date raped, drugged. You don't process after it. And I'm crying, because I'm scared for my life. I got tears, rivers of tears. And she's like, say it or I'll put you in jail. I'm like, what? He said I said say it. Talk about a sick son of a bitch. Doing that to a woman that's hysterically crying. A sick bastard. It's like, fine, whatever. He said, I'll come up here and put you in jail and I'll say it. So I said it. He's like, ah! I said, you're going to help me. I don't have to, nah. Talk about a sick bastard. A mentally sick bastard. Who the hell does that to a woman that's scared for her life and crying her eyes out? Talk about a sick bastard. You know if he has a girlfriend? I don't know. Some guy's around. Stop, she don't know. I'll list you an informant. And you go all the promises for the witness protection program. You tell someone else you're crazy and no one can help you. He can't do that. The only law is for them to put you in a witness protection program. It's a case of what government's willing to look into. And for your testimony, they will protect you. You get diplomatic immunity, police protective custody at home. You also get your $60,000 a year. You get free living and housing expenses, and a medical card, and they protect you. And you have diplomatic immunity because so they can't try to pull a fast one and get even with you and turn around on you. Okay, so that's where I called the hotline. He had to open that case. That's where the police work it, and they show up from the different Canton Police, Massillon Police, Stark County Sheriffs, stuff like that. Okay. They mentioned Karen around the house or Karen's will. And he had to open that case and then try to bully me into staying quiet while he stole. It's all about the money. They are stealing $5,000 to $10,000 a month just from my case alone. And they've stolen over $300,000. The embezzling laws S641, any money that is withheld and meant for one person, it's embezzlement. If it's misdirected to another person, it's embezzlement. Under $100 is up to 1 year in prison. Anything over 1,000 is 5 years to 30 years in federal prison. They don't play with people stealing from the vets. And they stole it right out from the witness protection program. I never got it. It's been all over the witness protection program money. They have paid out $958 billion for trying to protect people like me from these people. Now it's one of their own, is one of the ones they hunt. He's running it like the mafia. He's running it like the mafia. These people need to tell. I heard one of my clients' neighbors out there yelling that they were calling the FBI and that this is really going on. You can't tell somebody not to believe them. You can't tell them they can't help it. That's badgering and bullying. And they all know it. Like the guy said, we all know that agent bullied her. Doesn't give a right for no one not to help her. Just like November 24th, where that Eric made fun of all these people for falling for it. November 1822 at Walmart 62 by the hair salon between 2 and 6 p.m. He's screaming and he's another sick bastard. was all the tapes were me and not her, and for people to turn on her and they fell for her. Full confession. Then November 24, 22, Mercy Medical, we all heard, the nurse that took care of me, we all heard that Eric make fun of us for falling for this, and nobody else say a word to her again. Then the lady responded, well, the agent that bullied her into saying she was lying when she wasn't. And I found out those many were in experiments. I told them she better not have permanent damage, and I found out no one's ever said anything bad about her before. And my whole family spoke highly of me. They mentioned it several places. You know, my boys would be so mad where I kept them out of everything. And, you know, my oldest John, he kept trying to get me to talk to his pastors. Like, he's like, tell my pastor what's going on, Mom. He'll be able to help you. And I'm like, I can't. No. Okay. And then Josh's life and his family's in danger, and they knew nothing. And then they lied on my youngest son and his wife. They were part of the shower scene people, and they knew nothing. My kids would be, if they actually came up to him and said, hey, we kicked in your mom and dad's door when they first moved in, they'd say, my God! And they'd call the cops on him. Oh, we date rape drugged your mom and told her to say something stupid. They would be lucky if my boys didn't punch them in the face. They'd be saying, are you the reason my parents broke up? Because they don't know about Katie and the tap. Well, they know I had some weird things happen like that, and they didn't know who was doing it. Mm-hmm. They would say, are you the reason our parents broke up? You were date rape drugging my mom? Are you the one that scared her away from my dad? Oh, they turn it around on them so quick. They would punch them right in the face. And my parents need to sue you. That's how my boys would answer it. You're the one that kicked in my mom and dad's door and it wasn't some realtor passing out keys like my dad said? You were stalking her? You photoshopped a shower scene? That's sick. You date rape drugged my mom? You better not touch her. Oh, you wait. And you're the reason my mom and dad broke up? Yeah. Are you the one that scared her? They were married 30 plus years. Oh, yeah. They knew nothing. And they didn't even know why I left Dave. Because I kept them out of this. Try to let them just go after me. That's why where they sell even the login to the police investigation where only police and agents should hear me. People that buy it, they look at me like a hero. Like the guy Vito at McDonald's. The one neighbor said he wanted to meet me. He found out what I lived through, and he thought I was amazing. That's where another lady, I heard Karen's will was going to be here, and I wanted to meet her. I've had all kinds of people come up and want to meet me because I almost died to save my family, and they look at me like a hero. Because the case shows I'm innocent of everything, and I almost died to save my family. And these people, where they are running this like the mafia, like that girl, my lady said, he'll do it. It's a good thing you broke up with him. He'll do it to you. She's like, I know that. These people will do these to all these people that are helping out with them. They'll do it to them. And they're not smart enough because they dangle little pieces of clothing or a cell phone out of their embezzled money. They might as well have robbed a bank and stood on top and threw the money out to the crowd. They act like they're in some kind of ghetto. And those people that are too lazy to go out and work at a grocery store and make an honest living, that they'd rather walk up and stab you or shoot you for your shoes or your cell phone. These people act like this around me. They will kill you for what you have and what they can get out of you. And these people that agent that called me back, and that retired judge, and do you realize that retired judge and a lot of, like that old guy that said he was drugging me up and telling me to say that weirdo stuff, they're senior citizens. And like that lady that confronted that old guy that she said he went out with her instead of me, and he's like 60 plus and like 250 pounds. That's weird. And that he was stalking me and watching me wash my floor with a towel. And then she confronted him, what was it, May or June of 19, tell that Steve to leave her alone? They knew all the kids were lying a long time ago. They're just mean jokes. Thanksgiving of 18, like they said to Flora, we're just making everything up. They're games of pretend. Sick games of pretend, because they wanted what? For the house wasn't meant for Grandma, it was meant for Auntie Shell and Papa, and Grandma needs to get out. By January, February 19, some guy with a deep voice was at John's church in the basement, was confronting him that they already knew all the kids lied. Everybody knew they lied, like man can and can. If you didn't hear John's kids right on the third step up, Karen, Dave's girlfriend is Michelle, it's Michelle. And then, like Sheriff John stopped goons at the door January 12, 22, where those kids get caught stating they were making everything up, like Flora said. For of course it never happened. For of course it wasn't true. We made it up. It's games of pretend. My whole family spoke highly of me. They're just mean jokes. That's why John asked me to babysit all three of them. What was it, September, October 19th? During the case. Mm-hmm. They're just mean jokes. My whole family spoke highly of me. They lied on Danny and Jen. They were part of the shower scene people. And I was telling them about Chris to follow me. And then believing that I have charges. Well, Mom, how could anybody fall for that? You still have your CC. Well, first he said, you have your CCW, don't you? I said, of course I do. And they said, what was the other one? Jen's like, well, Karen, I said, well, I call them the Pinocchio group, the liar, liar, pants on fire, or the wow, wow, wow group. And she's like, well, Karen, they would be, the pants would burst into flames if they said that you did anything wrong, as if. And they would be lying, because as if you would do anything wrong. And she's sitting there defending me. I start laughing. My phone's tapped, and they sold the login. And she's sitting there defending me. And I told her about my my med certs, past meds. What else? And I had to pass an FBI background check for that, or equivalent thereof. And that, I got my notary, and I take care of people for a living. She's like, Karen, do they not realize what you do for a living? You can't even have an accusation. No, I can't. I can't even have an accusation. They lie. And my family knew nothing about the shower scene. And then she's like, why on earth would anybody even fall for that? As if you do anything wrong. They knew nothing. People showed up and said they really didn't know. They've been talking about that for days. Actually, the last couple of weeks, they really didn't know. No, because you know what? The people around me said the police already said if they would have known, they would have went to jail. Because if they're part of having somebody stalked and date raped, yeah, they go to jail. I want you to think of that. They would have went to jail as an accessory to attempted murder, kidnapping, and drug charges and stalking. It's a good thing they didn't know. It's the agent. Why? Because you got to think, why wouldn't they just kill me? Because they've been playing with me. While they steal money from the federal government. And these lowlives, they didn't steal it from me. I never got it. They stole it straight from the feds. It's an agent that called me back. Retired Judge Pete and his dirty friends. Embezzling from the federal government. I'm gonna blow this.